What's good? It's your boy Jay. That's me. Let's jump into AEW Dynamite from April the 17th, 2024. The go-home show to this Sunday's AEW Dynasty. And we will go over the predictions. We kick the show off with Jon Moxley. He is now the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So Mox gets on the mic. He puts over winning the championship. He told all his doubters and naysayers to kiss his ass. He also talks about how deep one is willing to dig and how far they're willing to go to prove themselves. And that's what AEW is all about. So then Mox begins to talk about Don Callis. He puts over the Don Callis family, but he calls Don Callis a creep. He said over the weekend they put out a hit on Bryan Danielson, trying to injure Danielson. He said if you're going to put a target on Danielson, you might as well put a target on him as well. If you want to get violent, Mox will be around all night. He could sneak attack them, but then he suspects that won't teach them a lesson, so he's going to be picking the biggest, baddest, meanest of them all. He then proceeds to challenge Will Hobbs to a match next week for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He also says that Hobbs will accept, only to find out how far Mox is willing to go. Will Hobbs will be sent to the ocean, calling for the ref for rescue, but receiving none. He will find out that Don Callis is feeding him lies, and that there's only one Jon Moxley. So that's pretty cool. Again, I feel bad for Will Hobbs because he hasn't done jack shit in 4 years, and I know he's probably counting down. My bad. He's probably counting down the days until he can until he's free of his AEW contract, and he can go to either TNA or WWE, because why not go to either of those promotions? Either of those promotions will treat him infinitely better than what he's receiving in AEW. Again, he's done jack shit in AEW. He's going to lose to Moxley next week. He just recently lost to Will Ospreay. So, yeah, I just feel bad for Hobbs. Hobbs deserves way better. But Hobbs is like so many guys on the AEW roster who deserve better. Hobbs is just one of many. And I know that he's waiting to count down the days. The same goes with Ricky Starks and so many others. Moving on. So, Mercedes Moné, she's backstage. She's looking like a clown for whatever reason. I have no idea why. Crazy, weird hair, whatever reason. So, Mercedes, she addresses whoever it was that attacked her last week during her interview. She calls out Julia Hart for her remarks last week, turning her attention briefly to someone who doesn't want to face her at Double or Nothing, but putting the entire women's division on notice, saying they don't want to mess with Mercedes Moné. Boring. Again, Mercedes needs work. She needs work big time. Promo, not good. Not good. I don't care about the wrestling or anything like that or whatever when it comes to Mercedes. Mercedes does not have it in the promo department. She doesn't. Why did Tony Khan decide to put her in a mid-card feud that no one gives a damn about? Why do that, Tony? Why waste everyone's time? Why not insert Mercedes Moné into the main title picture? Why not insert her into the AEW Women's Championship picture? Why not put her there? That's where she's best served. She doesn't need to be doing mid-card shit. You didn't bring her and sign her in for her to do mid-card shit. It's dumb. Moving on. So this leads us into our first match of the night. it was a mixed tag match involving Edge and Willow Nightingale versus Julia Hart and Brody King, in which Brody King and Julia Hart got the win. Before the match even took place, Brody King and Julia Hart took out Willow. So this became a handicap match. So Julia Hart got the win. She locked in the Heartless on Willow, and that was all she wrote. So then post-match, Julia keeps the hold on. And then Mercedes, she runs down to the ring with a steel chair. And then Julia dips out, along with Brody King. And then Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale, they stare each other down. I don't care about any of this shit. Again, this is a waste of time. You could literally do this match on either a Dynamite or a Collision. I wouldn't give a damn either way. Moving on. So we were about to get a video package featuring FTR. The Young Bucks, they cut it short due to time before promising to take out their friends during this upcoming trios match. Then Okada, he promises Pac won't make it to Dynasty. So then this leads us into trios action. The Elite versus Pac, Daniel Garcia, and Penta, El Zero Miedo. With the Elite getting the win, which I'm fine with. During the match, I believe it was either Nicholas Jackson or Matthew Jackson, one of the two got on the mic, started talking mad shit to Daniel Garcia. I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, it was kind of odd at first, but, you know, it was alright. So, Okada gets the win via the Rainmaker. Post-match, the Elite, they continue to beat down Daniel Garcia until Pac makes the save with the sledgehammer. And that's fine there. Moving on. So, Taz, he's out next. He welcomes Chris Jericho. So, Hook comes out. So, basically, Jericho just wants Hook to come over to his side. He wants Hook to breathe in that rarefied air before asking if Hook is ready to sit under the branches of the learning tree. Excuse me. So, Hook says no, he's not interested. And then Jericho continues to taunt Taz. He shoves Taz. Taz hurts his knee. And then Hook gets all up in Jericho's face. And then he grabs Chris Jericho. Hook tells him he can beat him again anytime, anywhere. And then Hook tells Chris Jericho to get out of his ring. And Jericho obliges. So this is fine, I guess. This actually makes sense. I'm actually kind of intrigued with this to see where it goes. It seems like Jericho's going to turn heel. Why not? So, you know, this kind of makes sense, I guess. Am I truly interested in this? No. I hope that Hook, sometime this year, his contract is up and he can go to NXT. I really do think that whenever his contract expires, whether it's this year or next year, we'll see Hook in NXT for sure. I think that would be better for him because he can be with his own peers. And I think that Hook would do tremendously well in NXT. It seems like in AEW, he's reached his ceiling for whatever reason. He's not done really much of anything. This is kind of like his first real major, I want to say, program. Not really a feud, but like more of like a mini feud, I would say, between him and Jericho. Like, you could run this, obviously, at Dynasty, continuing on at Double or Nothing, and maybe end it on either a Dynamite or a Collision, something like that. So that's what might happen. You could get a feud out of this for sure. So this is fine. Moving on. So Renee Paquette, she had a backstage interview with Swerve. So Swerve addresses his shortcomings, but reminds everyone he's still here and that he always gets backed up. Samoa Joe can call him whatever he wants, but this Sunday at Dynasty, he'll be calling Swerve the new world champion. So then Renee Paquette asks Swerve if he can beat Joe at Dynasty. Swerve says this isn't something that he needs to answer to Renee, but to Samoa Joe as he runs the champ down some more. So that's fine. Also, Swerve mentioned that he did military service. That's interesting. I never knew that Swerve was in the military. That's cool shit. I'm gonna have to look into that. That's very, very interesting. Moving on. So, Deonna Purrazzo defeated Mariah May via a roll-up, which was great. So, Mariah May was going for her finisher, and then Deonna reversed it into a roll-up. So that's pretty cool. Post-match, Thunder Rosa came down, and she got into it with Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo shoved her and everything else, and then Mariah May had a little brawl with Deonna Purrazzo. Toni Storm got beat up by Thunder Rosa. So then she got lipstick all over her, that being Toni Storm. So that was kind of funny. So Thunder Rosa got a little bit of comeuppance. That's fine. Again, what do you do with Thunder Rosa going forward? I have no idea. We all know she's not winning on Sunday. Moving on. So Renee Paquette, she's backstage with the Bang Bang Gang. They addressed making new friends this past week ahead of their massive match for Dynasty. It's basically going to be a winner-take-all, Bullet Club Gold and the Acclaim. So you're going to have both sets of trio titles be on the line, the ROH ones as well as the AEW ones. That's fine. So not really all that important. Moving on. Orange Cassidy defeated Shane Taylor. Who gives a shit? Post-match, Shane Taylor and Leo Moriarty, they attempted to beat down Orange Cassidy some more, but Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal, they made the save, but that was to no avail because Trent came out and he beat the shit out of both guys, out of Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal with a steel chair. And he stood tall with Anthony Ogogo, Lee Moriarty, and Shane Taylor. Okay. Who gives a flying fuck about any of this? None of this shit matters at all. None of it. Moving on. So, we get a video package, and Bob and Kyle O'Reilly's return to AEW. And he'll be taking on Roderick Strong at Dynasty for the AEW International Championship. What occurred was Roderick Strong beat down Kyle O'Reilly. I believe it happened on Collision this past week. If not Collision, Rampage. But I'm more than likely sure it probably happened on Collision. Main event of the evening. Claudio Castagnoli versus Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay gets the win via the Hidden Blade for the 1-2-3. Post-match, the Don Callis family, they seek revenge on Claudio, but Moxley comes down to make the save. And then Mox is able to run off Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. He trades some blows with Will Hobbs, and then the entire group leaves. So Will Ospreay, he dips out as well. So that's kind of it. That's kind of it. That's fine, I guess. So we're seeing the crumblings of the Don Callis family. There's crack within the family. So I wouldn't be shocked if they turn on Will Ospreay. Moving on. So Swerve, he comes out next. This was the final segment of the show. So he reminds everyone that he knocked out Samoa Joe, making him quiver and stare as he held the AEW World Heavyweight Championship high. So he showed that Swerve that he's scared because he knows Swerve's gonna beat him for the title at Dynasty. So Samoa Joe and Swerve, they have a little brawl, basically. So they have a little brawl. Samoa Joe hits the Muscle Buster to lay Swerve out. Also, during this, Swerve did a nasty-ass Swerve stomp, taking out 10 security guards. That was great. That was great shit there. So, Dynamite was okay. It could have been a lot better, but it's alright. On to the predictions. Let's get into the predictions for Dynasty. So we have, I think, 7 matches on the card. So let's start with the trios match involving the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews versus Edge, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe. The House of Black would get the win. I think Malachi Black would get the win, and we'll probably build that feud between Edge and Malachi Black starting around Double or Nothing and maybe ending at Wembley. Moving on, Hook versus Chris Jericho for the FTW Championship. FTW rules. Hook will retain. Moving on, Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale. The winner will face Mercedes Moné at Double or Nothing. It's a house rules match. So Willow Nightingale will win. It actually makes the most sense. You can have her be a short transitional champion, or you can have her and Mercedes really have a long, lengthy feud. That's what they might do. Moving on, a match that I don't give a single damn about. That is Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong for the AEW International Championship. You could literally put that match on either Collision or a random episode of AEW Dynamite. Roderick Strong's going to get the win. There's no need for Kyle O'Reilly to win at all. There's no need. I'm so over the Undisputed Kingdom. I'm so over this shit. Moving on, a match that I'm looking forward to. Kazuchika Okada versus Pac for the AEW Continental Championship. Kazuchika Okada is going to retain. The match should be a banger. It should be very, very fun, hard-hitting. And I'm really excited about the match for sure. I think it's going to be really, really good. Moving on, Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship. Toni Storm's going to retain, and then from there, they'll probably have a feud between her and Mariah May. That'll culminate at Wembley. So that's what they might do, I want to say. Moving on. FTR versus the Young Bucks. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. Part 4. Ladder match for the vacated AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks are going to win, and then we'll probably see an appearance by the Motor City Machine Guns. Moving on from that, Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is going to get the win. Will Ospreay is being positioned as being the face of AEW. He'll probably end up being champion either at Wembley or sometime next year, or maybe at the end of the year. Moving on from that, the main event of the evening, Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Swerve needs this win. Joe's been a pretty good champion, but Swerve needs the win. And then I think we need to see an MJF return. AEW needs MJF like nobody's business, because AEW's been suffering for months. They've been in the decline for quite some time with all the CM Punk bullshit that they did and everything else. So maybe MJF can pull them out of that rut that they've been in for a while. But those are my predictions. What did you guys think of Dynamite? And what are your predictions for Dynasty? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.